Question number 3, Andrew Little.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. Does he stand by his statement that New Zealand is on the, quotes, cusp of something special, end quotes? If so, was that something special rising unemployment along with plummeting dairy prices?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, yes, I stand by that statement for 2 reasons. The first is that I'm positive and aspirational for New Zealand, and unlike some people who are always talking the country down. But actually the second reason I stand by that statement is I made that statement on a couple of occasions during debates in the 2014 general election, and we were on the cusp of something special, the worst pounding the Labor Party had ever had in the history of the party.
Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Given the number of people who are unemployed has risen by 13,000 and that unemployment in Taranaki alone is now 7%, and there are hundreds set to join them due to major job cuts announced recently, isn't the truth of it that he's sending more and more families to the cusp of poverty?
Absolutely. Well, Mr Speaker,
the Right Honourable Prime Minister.
The government has created, along with the people of New Zealand, of course, but 148,000 jobs over the last 2 years. But, Mr Speaker, I note the Labor Party has an interest all of a sudden apparently in farming. So when prices go up, it's nothing to do with the government. When prices go down, it's everything to do with the government. They're not asking why are beef prices high, is that the responsibility of the government? But Mr Speaker, I make this simple point. The Labor Party wanted to put a huge number of costs on farmers. That was their policies during the election.
That's right. Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Given that Westpac says there will be no more job growth this year and the economy has grown at just a quarter of the expected rate, hasn't he driven the economy to the cusp of recession?
Mr Speaker,
the Right Honourable Prime Minister.
If the member goes and reads the Westpac report, the glimpse that I had a look through it, it shows that growth will be between 2 and 2.5% over the next 3 years.
Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Why has he failed to invest in diversifying the economy, neglected regional infrastructure and turned a blind eye to the 35,000 jobs lost in manufacturing since 2008?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
The member needs to get out a bit more. It's as simple as that, because if you go around New Zealand and have a look at what's happening around New Zealand, Mr Speaker, you'll see just how diversified the economy is. Tourism spending alone is up over 20% from last year, over $8 billion. The ICT sector doing well. Kiwi fruit growing, back from the lows of PSA, Mr Speaker. Beef farming doing extremely well. Horticulture doing well around New Zealand. Manufacturing, 33 months in a row, the PMI has been expanding. The services sector, export education. Mr Speaker, the only people that think the economy is solely dairy is the Labor Party, and they wanted to tax those people to the brink of extinction.
Order. Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Did he receive any official advice to back up his claim that a new flag would add billions to the economy, or was he making it up just like usual?
The
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
I do think changing the flag over time has very significant economic benefits to New Zealand, and the reason for that, Mr Speaker, the reason for that is because if you go and have a look on the Herald website today, and you'll see New Zealanders voting, and I noticed Mike Hosking's column today actually talking about genuine debate about the flag. Oh, that's right. That's right. They'll just remind me, it's Labor Party policy to change, but they don't want it. And Andrew Little was on his live chat 10 months ago supporting change, but today he doesn't want to do it. Mr Speaker, when we have a flag that is of the ilk that we see today, actually it will be on our goods that are sent around the world, and that will have huge economic benefit. But the bottom line, Mr Speaker, is this. If the Labor Party are telling New Zealanders they simply mislead them with their policies, why would you believe in any of them?
Order. The answer long enough. Order. 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 Supplementary question, Ron Mark.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Prime Minister, in terms of helping the economy.
Order. Just ask the supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Since the Prime Minister knows about trading halts, why does he not agree with the Right Honourable Winston Peters and Waikato Federated Farmers Chris Lewis that Fonterra should temporarily suspend participation on global dairy trade?
The Right Honourable
Speaker,
Prime Minister.
Firstly, that's a matter for Fonterra. It's a private organisation, makes it its own mind. But that is akin to saying when things are going well, we'll have a global dairy auction. When they're going badly in the world market, we won't. In other words, when the poll results are high, we'll listen to them. And when the poll results for New Zealand First are bad, we'll turn our eyes away. It's a ridiculous way to operate.
Supplementary question, Ron Mark.
To the Prime Minister then. Then when dairy stock and land values fall in line with the falling commodity price and payout, as they always do, and dairy farming couples are forced into negative equity and the foreign banks move in to foreclose.
Order. Can I have the question, please?
What will he do?
The Right Honourable Prime
Well,
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'll just pick one basic point, and that is, Mr. Speaker, that there's no great evidence actually that when payouts go down as they are, that you will see a massive amount of foreign investment in dairy farms, because, Mr. Speaker, the farmer will likely actually come in when they can make an economic return. At the current returns, as the member will know, most dairy farmers are either breaking even or not making money, and on that basis, very unlikely they're going to come in and buy those farms.
Point of order, Ron
Yes.
Mark.
Could I ask you, through you, Mr. Speaker, if the Prime Minister would comment on the particular part of my question that says about land values and stock values dropping, which he totally
ignored. The member will
ignored?
resume his seat. If he can make his questions concise and to the point, then I can help him. But when it's a question as long as that one, to the extent that I've got to intervene to ask for the question, then in my mind the Prime Minister addressed it. Question number 4, Andrew Bailey.
Mr. Speaker, my question is